stuff for you guys today. I have some like content style stuff I want to get into today that I think is very applicable towards you guys here in the ads cohort. That I think could be really, really good to touch on to help you guys run your ads better, because this is the team. This is a team thing, right? Like, um, even if, I mean, you are paying us to run your ads, but here's the thing: is like a lot of what you guys are doing outside of the ads we're running affect how well the ads run. It's like there's some paradoxes in marketing that like paid traffic alone is not in its own vacuum. It is affected a lot by what you guys do on, on your own when you're marketing and talking about your gym and putting stuff out on the internet. And so I want to get into some of that stuff because there's definitely, now that we've run this ads cohort, this has been our best group yet in regards to like how close of attention we've paid. And we learn with every one of them. Every one of them gets better because we learn more. And I'm a big patterns guy. Like my touch of the tism, I like to call it, is like patterns. So like I identify patterns quickly, and like I'll notice quickly like, okay, what's the cause and effect relationship of like the outcome, right? And what I've noticed is definitely like, okay, why do some gyms in some markets get better results more consistently than gyms in other markets? And why might a gym who gets higher cost leads might actually be getting better results than a gym that gets lower cost leads? And that's not always the case. That's not a blanket statement to say that higher cost leads get you better results. Typically, they don't always. It's just there's a reason why a gym that does get higher leads, cost leads, might be better. And there's some paradoxes there I want to go over. There's actually three of them. So like, I want to talk about these because I think they're going to help you guys. Because ultimately, you're here because you want to generate more leads, right? You're in the ads cohort because you're like, okay, I got organic traffic, but it's not enough, or maybe it is enough, but I've got new goals and I want to go to the next level, and the organic traffic is not enough to get us to the next level. So I'm doing paid traffic to supplement that, right? Because at the end of the day, you need traffic, you need lead gen, you need people in your area to know who you are and where and how to do business with you and what you're about. And there's only three ways you get that traffic, and there's no magical fourth way, besides just wishing for it to naturally just show up at your door, which is you guys have probably all tried that. We've all tried that. I went to sleep at night with my fingers crossed and my toes crossed and my eyes crossed, and said, please tomorrow send me 10 customers, and it has not really worked out for me yet. So my goal is like, okay, let's operate in reality here and talk about the things we can control, which are either like traffic you earn, traffic you own, or traffic you buy, right? Organic's the traffic you earn, and that takes time. It takes time to earn more traffic, right? And then traffic you own is like the leads you already have, the list you already have, the list that you're not having to pay anybody to use, like the contacts you already have. That's traffic you own. You can message those leads tomorrow that haven't bought from you and be like, hey, what's going on? I noticed you opted in last year and you haven't bought, or what's going on now, right? You can market that list without having to pay Facebook, without having to earn the ability for earn that person's attention. You can just message them, right? And there's traffic you buy, which is what you're doing here in the ads cohort. And there's definitely some paradoxes between those things. So I'm going to screen share and dive into those things. Before I do, I want to I want to give Juan a moment if there's any public service announcements he has for the groups or things that he needs to make sure you guys here in the group, because he's kind of managing the behind the scenes point and click, a lot of the setup stuff, and then me and him are working together to make sure your ads get scaled appropriately. So do you have anything, Juan, that you want to make sure everybody here hears?
No, well, we're right now March 1st, so we are getting ready for most of you guys for the third round of this first quarter. I was well super thrilled to keep working with you guys on this month. We've been working with Will. Some accounts have been particularly difficult in some markets to get better results and stuff. So we're trying new stuff. Okay, and in some of you guys and some of you which are currently working well, there's nothing that needs to be changed, right? If it's working, don't change it. So we'll just eventually continue through that path with most of you guys. And I'm very much looking forward to receive most of the rest of the forms to set up your ads for the next few days. So being March 3rd right now, March 1st right now, and being Friday, I will be eventually working some extra time, if you don't mind, Will, on this weekend, so we can set up some ads.
Of course, man. I'm all. I think we're all about the hustle here, man. I'll never stop anybody from wanting to work more, especially if we help them feel good and make progress and being productive, for sure, man. We're all here to hustle.
So that's pretty much it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Cool. Awesome. And I think this is a good time to talk about this going into this next month as the ads start to run, because it's like, I'd say so far in the ads cohort, it's been like a 70-30 success rate. So like probably 70% of the gyms, like their ads are running good. They're running good month over month. And there's not a lot that needs to change. We just need to keep managing them, keep running them, and they're going to keep getting the same result. And then there's the other 30% that it's like a mixed bag of like either the leads are really expensive and their market's very, very tricky to figure out how to even get leads. And we're having to test different things and find out what that is, or they're getting a lot of leads and the lead quality is either very low or the follow-up's not very good, or there's a number of reasons there, what's going on. Either way, like in both situations, either they're not getting enough leads or they're getting a lot of leads and lead quality is just bad. And as I've, gone down this road to be like, okay, well, what's the cause and effect relationship here between like those gyms, the 30% that are struggling? When I look at their stuff, like the other things that they're doing outside of their ads, there's definitely some like patterns, and I want to share those patterns because if you guys are like, oh yeah, I'm doing that, then like you can go and change that, right? Because at the end of the day, like even though you're paying us to run the ads, that's what you're doing. You're paying us to run the ads. Like the outcome is going to be mixed depending on the other things that you've done up until we run the ads. It's not like people running your ads and then like they don't do anything else. Like they're going to see your ads, and one of the paradoxes we're going to talk about is like the impulsive discerning paradox. And like generally like a person who is more impulsive that's going to opt in to like a Facebook ad, like they're generally more impulsive and they're just going to opt in right there to the ad. But then there's like that top 20% of people, that are more discerning. These are people with more money, people who are more patient, people who aren't impulsive. There's a relationship between high IQ, income, and discernment, a very strong relationship there. And that's important to understand because like the customers you guys all talk about wanting all the time, when I hear the people complain about the quality of leads, when I hear anybody who does talk about the quality of leads, it's like they'll talk about the type of person it is. They'll be like, this person doesn't get back to me. They don't seem to understand what we're doing. They're looking for a $30 a month membership. They don't communicate well. And it's like, well, that's like the nature of a more impulsive person, right? And a person that's more discerning communicates very well. They don't waste people's time. They don't waste their own time. They generally appreciate higher quality goods and are willing to pay a premium for them. They think more about value versus cost. So they're willing to pay more for an even better experience versus pay less for a base level experience, right? They're also people that are like, when they say they're going to show up, they show up. So your show rates are higher, right? Now, an ad, all it's really meant to do is just take your warmest of traffic and convert them, right? And the warmest of and if the traffic you're getting is poor, that's because like your general audience that you already have sucks. That's because you up till now have not done a very good job building warmth in the people around your audience. So no one knows who you are and they're seeing you out of left field with these ads and they're opting in because the only people who are going to opt in on that are going to be the most impulsive people. The more discerning people are going to click through to your profile and see nothing. They're going to see like you posting pictures about the CrossFit Open for the last 3 weeks, talking about 24.1, which like no one knows what the hell that means. Like no one knows what that means. And if you're not a CrossFit gym, forgive me. Like that's just an example of something going on with the CrossFit gyms right now is they all want to talk about the Open nonstop. And it's like, do you read this like an average person does? The person that's looking at your ads? Because if you're not, like you need to, because like no one knows what single arm dumbbell snatches are in 24.1. And then you referencing all these past workouts that you're redoing as part of your like open prep. I'm like, do you know what average people do? Like they don't do this stuff. Like, so like it's important. Okay. So I'm going to go over this today because like you guys got to help yourselves a little bit with this. You guys that are in the situations where like maybe your market's not as warm as you want it to be. And it's part of your job as CEO of your business, right? Like no one's going to assume that role for you. And you would have to pay us like significantly more money to do like this level of marketing for you. And we just don't offer that because it's stuff that you need to be doing and it's not hard to do. It just needs to be part of like your daily and regular like flow of things. Okay. So let's get into these like paradoxes real quick here and break it down. Like, and we're going to bring this all down to earth too. So you know what you got to do to improve it, because I would love for everybody here to get like 10 out of 10 leads. Right. But like I said, there's definitely some patterns in the gyms who get those higher quality leads. It's also understanding a little bit of like what kind of leads what you do get from paid traffic, and understanding like naturally what it's going to bring you. It's definitely going to bring you colder traffic because Facebook's basically out there like kind of guessing based on people's behavior and what they're talking to the internet, like whether or not they might be interested in your service. But hopefully in your market, it's not the first time they've heard of you, but odds are it probably is. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is kind of filling that gap, because generally like your best quality leads are going to be people that have seen you like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Right. And the average Facebook ad is going to be seen by 300 to 1,000 people a day. Okay. So 300 to 1,000 people a day. Ideally, you'd like all 300 to 1,000 of those people to have seen you 5, 6, 7, or heard of you, or had some sort of, at least that you exist. If they don't, then they're ice cold, and naturally, like you're going to get this more impulsive style type of lead and opt in, because that's the only person who's going to fill that thing out. Like if they otherwise know nothing about you, right? So let's screen share and show you guys this real quick. As far as chat goes, let's see you guys. Derek, how dare you? 24/1. I know, blasphemy, right? Like I'm not a hater. I own 2 CrossFit gyms. I don't do a lot of
completely agree.
yeah, and like I'm not a hater. I don't like just like I don't have a problem with CrossFit or whatever. I don't have an opinion there. I don't have a side on that. I own 2 CrossFit gyms, and like I don't do much CrossFit these days, but like it was a big part of my life for a long time, and I can appreciate like the type what it does for community, and the what I like is the algorithmic nature of the workouts and the gamification of it. It's great. There's a lot of upsides to that. A lot of things other fitness methodologies have borrowed from it, but like a lot of CrossFit gym owners are like fitness and CrossFit nerds. And I'm like, talk about being so far to a spectrum that no one knows anything about, like that we got to zoom back out and put ourselves back in the shoes of like the average person, which is when we're running ads, that's who we're talking to. Now the ads aren't talking about CrossFit Open or whatever, but when they click through to your profile, that's all they've seen. That's they do a little binge and be like, what are they talking about over there? And it's just that, and like the fittest people in your gym, like slaying a revisit of an older workout, like it's just not going to connect, so cool. Let a few other people in here. And again, not all you guys are CrossFit gyms, but like whatever your fitness thing is, every gym does this, where they just get too deep into like the jargon of what they do, and they don't put the right content out that gets people to know, like, and trust them. Instead, they put content out that speaks to some of their existing audience, which is not what we're trying to do in our outbound stuff. Like that stuff that should be more in like maybe a private group or maybe some sort of circle where your members are engaging with it, versus like your public channels where everybody gets to see it, including your audience that doesn't know who you are. So screen share real quick. Let me know if you guys can see my screen here, so I can dive into this. Get a thumbs up here. Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. So these are your lead generation paradoxes. Okay. And I love paradoxes. I almost like speak and talk in paradoxes. Like everything is, most things you're going to do in business are like a paradox. Like, if you want to make a lot of money, you got to work hard. You want to be really, really strong, you got to do a lot of hard, you got to break yourself down a lot, right? Like it's like in working out, it's a paradox, right? Like I have to take myself if I want to be the fittest, most able version, I have to take myself further and further, the closer to the point of breaking without breaking myself. And the more and more I do that more consistently, the stronger I get, right? So it's a paradox, right? Like why would tearing myself down and tearing muscle down make me stronger? It's like, well, that's how the body works, right? Life is full of these paradoxes of like, you can't get without giving, right? In some way, shape, or form. So I want to talk about the ones as they apply to what we're doing here, okay? So you have 3 paradoxes. You have the paid organic paradox, you have the quality volume paradox, and you have the impulsive discerning paradox. Okay, these 3 things are important to understand. We're definitely not speaking at 5th grader language here. This is like college level language. So if you guys struggle with that, just take what I'm saying here, stick it in ChatGPT and say, tell it to me like I'm 5. And like, it'll just repeat it all back to you in a way that you can understand. If you need further breakdown, I'm being silly with that. You guys are all pretty smart, so I don't think we're gonna have trouble here. But when I use big words like this, people are like, whoa, I don't know if I'm ready for this today. It's Friday, but it's okay. Like we're going to get it. Okay. So let's talk about this real quick. So paid organic paradox. Okay. So so here's the paradox of paid organic, right? Like paid brings a lot of volume forward, right? You're basically saying what you're doing with paid is you're going to Facebook, you're going to Mark Zuckerberg or Meta or whatever, and you're saying, I don't have enough traffic. Can I buy some of yours? And Facebook's like, sure, we have this algorithm and this social graph that like does a pretty good job of finding who's interested in what. And based on like the people who currently follow your business and their friends and people like them in your area, we think we can get you like a return on the money you give us. That's the hope, right? It's the idea. That's the idea. That's what they're offering you. That's the offer, right? You can buy our traffic, right? You don't own that traffic. Mark Zuckerberg does. You're just paying to borrow some of it, which is pretty cool. Like that's like what they built as a pretty cool model, right? Like let's give away the product for free to get all this traffic here, and then we're going to sell the traffic. That's what they're doing, right? Now, the thing about paying for this volume is like it can only qualify so much with the social graph. If you're trying to get a lot of leads, you're going to dip your toe into like the wider ranging audience around you, and they are less likely to know, like, and trust you, leading to much lower conversion rates. So typically, if you're running paid ads, like, you know, if you're paying for that volume from someone else's channels, then naturally, like, you're going to expect to maybe close 5 to 10% of that traffic, right? Versus like organic, it almost flips. Organic gets a very, very high quality of leads that know, like, and trust you, but the volume is very, very low, right? And we kind of already know this. You're kind of like, well, duh, like, I know that, like, organic's good, like, you know, and all that. So it's important to understand that, like, you're not going to, because I still find like 2 months in explaining myself to some gym owners in the program that, like, yeah, you're not going to close like 70% of these leads. Like, you're not paid traffic. You're not going to close 70% of it like you do with organic. With organic, I know everybody you show up, everybody that shows up and walks in the door buys. And now you're contending with this audience of people that, like, aren't doing the same thing. And what I like to say to that is, like, welcome to real sales, because that is the real name of the game, right? Like, most of my businesses prior to owning gyms, and I happen to own my, you know, both my gyms went through this curve too. Well, like, I started this landscaping company, and landscaping companies have been around forever. It wasn't a new trendy thing, right? There wasn't a big market moving towards us. When I started this landscaping company, I had to open up and compete with the 50 to 100 other companies within 10 miles of my business that are serving the greater area. Like, so, like, there was no market moving towards us like we had with, you know, CrossFit, for example, from 2010 to 2015, where like all you had to do is open up. Like, that's not normal in business. It's not normal for like 90% of the people that find you to just show up and buy. And we'll have a lot of gym owners that say, oh, I'm really, really good at sales. 9 out of 10 people show up and buy. I'm like, that doesn't mean you're good at sales. That just means that, like, you've got good organic traffic coming in the door. You find out how good you really are at sales when you get a lot of cold paid traffic, and you start finding out, like, okay, how do I get X percentage of these much, much colder buyers to warm up through conversation, through follow-up, by being fast, by having speed to lead, by getting on the phones, by being better at follow-up on the text line and email and things like that. How do I get better at appointment setting, right? And then how do I take this person that's now in front of me that maybe is a little bit colder and doesn't really know what their problem is, but knows they have a problem, and, like, talk about that and get them to pay premium prices for my service when they've maybe never been to a gym that charges more than $30 a month, right? So, like, it's definitely a more complex thing, and it's where you get to learn and get better and improve your skills as a business owner and a salesperson, which is a necessary skill to being a business owner. You can't operate yourself to success, and people will be like, well, I beg to differ, Will. Like, the best products sell themselves. And I'm like, that's what people who are already like mega successful with the product say, or people that timed the market perfectly. Like, it would be easy to say that if you owned a CrossFit gym in 2012, because, like, the product did kind of sell itself because you were dealing with early adopters and innovators that in the space. You weren't dealing with the mainstream yet. Once the mainstream got to the market, now you have competition. Now you get to find out how, you know, like, can the product still sell itself? Well, no, not really, because, like, there's 10 other versions of it now, right? So now the audience is confused and they need to know why yours is better, right? So that's the paid organic paradox that we need to focus on. And, like, so here's my thing with this, the paid organic paradox is, if I go to my little drawing I made for you guys, spent about an hour drawing this up for you guys before, is, you know, when you're running only paid ads on your business, for your business, if your business is propped up on that and you otherwise are not doing anything, like, you need to have a lot of warm and hot traffic to have that work well for you. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of really, really cold leads, right? So, like, how do we take the local audience around us that doesn't know who we are and, like, get ourselves in position so when we run ads, like, they are much more of this warm and hot audience that needs to be there. So when they see our ad, like, that call to action works, because that's really what an ad is. An ad is like a direct response call to action, which means, like, we're trying to market to people that are already, like, somewhere in the orange zone, right? They're somewhere in the middle of warmth. But if the only thing in your market that it's hitting is cold people, that's not because the ads are broken. That's because, like, you've done nothing to warm your local market up to you or what you do, and no one else is either, right? So, like, there's just less people that are problem aware and solution aware and ready to take action. So, like, that's what organic does, right? So, like, what you should be doing if your market's really, really cold and you're getting a lot of, cold traffic when you're running ads, is you need to do more of this stuff here, right? And so the things that are going to get the most reach are going to be like shorts these days, right? So on social media now you have these short form content pieces, like pieces of content that are 20 seconds, 30 seconds, less than a minute, right? And you can run them, you can publish these things on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all over the place. And on the meta platforms, Instagram and Reels, they're called, or Instagram and Facebook, they're called Reels and Shorts. And when you run Reels and Shorts, they get shown to a lot of people in your local audience, and you can boost them for like, $1, and like 2,000 people will see your reel, right? Like just locally. And people will boost posts and be like, well, it's not getting me leads, so why should I do that? And I was like, well, it's not designed to get you leads. It's just designed to make people aware of you, right? Because when you do that, it makes it so your ads work better down the line, right? So you should be creating reels and shorts. And a lot of those reels and shorts are shorter form versions of the same stuff you're going to publish at this level, which is your longer form posts, right? So you should be posting testimonials. Every week there should be a testimonial, a new testimonial posted. And it doesn't need to be fancy. You don't need to make a big deal about it. You don't need cameras. You don't need to bring in the camera crew. You already have a really good camera. Like this camera on your iPhone, like it's better than the Logitech 4K camera I have right now that I'm on. Like it's better. Like it gets better footage. Just get a tripod, set it up, or just like even better. Here's what I used to do. I used to take the gym, the member, and pull them in front of like a space in their gym, and the logo was in the background. And I used to just hold the camera like that. And I asked them 4 questions. I asked them, what was life like before joining our gym, and what kind of problems were you dealing with? What were some of the results and things that you accomplished since joining our gym? And then the 4th question was, what would you tell someone considering joining our gym? And I would use our name instead of the word our gym. And like, that would take me like 2 minutes. They would say what naturally comes to mind, which was always good. And then I would take it and I would use an editing app like CapCut, and I would just cut out the pauses and me talking. And it would create this like 60-second to 2-minute long video of the person basically rattling off like exactly what someone considering doing business with you needs to hear. They're going to be like, before joining Spark CrossFit, I was, feeling lazy, lethargic. I was about 30 pounds overweight. My doctor told me I was pre-diabetic. And then it's going to cut, and it's going to go right to the next question of, what have you had happen since? Oh, I've lost 30 pounds. I've made like 3 great friends that I hang out with and get coffee with on Saturday. And I'm just feeling better and have more energy and sleeping better. And then it's going to cut, and it's going to go, for someone considering doing business with joining Spark CrossFit, I would just do it. I would just do it. It's going to be the best decision you have made this year. And it's going to be like that. And they're going to be like, and so you ever wonder like how people create these great testimonials? It's literally that simple, right? And so like that's a long form post. And you can even cut segments out of that and make it a reel, right? And then Facebook's naturally going to shove it out to like a couple thousand people, right? Long form posts. Okay. So another one, inform and educate. So you should be like, the testimonials are social proof. You got to inform and educate. You got to talk about a common problem. You can do that like podcast style, talking head style. You're just talking about you're just making people problem aware. Big problem in my area I'm noticing is that like everybody's pre-diabetic. We live in this rural town, and like the average, doctor is just putting them on Ozempic, and it's not solving their problem, right? You're just talking about the problem. You're not trying to solve it. You're just trying to talk about the problem. You're just kind of getting it off your chest. And you should have something like that every week. You should, as a gym owner, you guys should have something like that naturally. Like the only reason you should do this is because you're pissed off about like the bigger system. Like you're fighting a bigger fight. And if it doesn't bother you, then like you're probably not going to be waving the flag very well, right? People are going to sense that you don't really care. And maybe you're just in this for the money, or maybe because you like doing fitness and you want to make some money so you can work out all the time and hang out with your friends. Like people don't really, people like to do business with people that are mission driven. And by talking about your common problems and getting it off your chest, it tells people, I have a mission I'm on and I want you to join me, without even solving the problem. Just talking about it gets people to go, yeah, I want to work with that guy. Right. Like, so, and then next long form value post, solve the common problem, right? Now we're not talking about the problem. Now we're solving it. So we're going to do videos that are like, if you go to OIL Fitness, Mike Wilson's gym, I reference those guys a lot because I've told them about this strategy so many times. We've talked about this strategy many times over the years, and he's just out there doing it. And if you go to his profile, you'll see them doing like a podcast style video where they talk about the problems and they're getting it off their chest. And then you'll see them do like these shorts and reels that are like videos about like hip pain, right? Like what's the average person's problem? It's not like I'm not super effing fit. That's not the problem. The problem is like I sit at a desk 8 hours a day and my back hurts. So like, talking about the problem of like you sit at your desk all day. This is the problem with our society is we all sit at a desk all day, blah, 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 blah. And you go on about it. And then you make another video. It's like, I'm going to show you guys how to fix back pain. And you give it to them you tell them how to do it for free. Like you show them how good you are. You show them how good the product is without them having to pay for it. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to do it themselves. They want to come in and have someone tell them what to do. But in order to trust someone to tell them what to do, because there's a lot of crappy coaches out there, 9 out of 10 coaches and trainers and gyms actually suck, like are not that good at what they do. Like they're just like blindly following some methodology and they're not actually like nerds about what they do. Right. So like demonstrate your nerdiness here. Now is where you're like, but demonstrate the nerdiness in a way that's relatable for the average person. It's not how do we do better single arm dumbbell thrusters? Like, wrong. Like you missed the target completely, like way over everybody's head. Like just talk about solving back pain. Here's a stretch you can do that we do every day here at Spark CrossFit that like you can do at home right now. And I'm going to show you why this makes sense. I'm going to show you the how, why, and what. What does it solve, how to do it, and why it works, right? And those are your long value posts. Next, recognition. So this is where you want to recognize member achievements, right? So Committed Club. There's a training in the school group about Committed Club. It's in the launch modules, and it says retention on it. It talks about Committed Club, and I give you the Canva docs to run Committed Club every month. Run Committed Club, tag your members, follow the video, do what it says. And then when members have wins, like they achieve a milestone. This is where maybe you do show a PR every now and then, but don't get nerdy about the PR. Don't talk about what it is. Just be like, so-and-so crushed a new PR today. They've been working very, very hard. Tell a little bit of their story. Don't talk about it being like, oh, they snatched 100 kg. Again, no one knows what that means. Talk about how when they started, they could barely lift the bar. And now, like through their showing up every day and being consistent and their tenacity, like put the light on them and not like the weight. And like, what did they do to get here? That's how you recognize people. And when people see that, they're like, holy cow, this place does a fantastic job of recognizing its members. I really want to train there, right? And then long form posts, entertain them, right? Do something behind the scenes and do some funny stuff, right? Like be goofy, be that goofy person that like we all know you are behind the scenes. People like that stuff. People like when you're, like I might be serious, I'd be really nerdy myself, guys, but like I'm also super fucking goofy too. Like if you guys have gotten to know me at all or met me in person, like that's how I am in real life. Like I just, we all have that side to us a little bit. And like, we all know, like with our significant other or whatever, like you have these inside jokes and you're really a goofball. So like, let that shine a little bit also, or like do it with your coaches, show their goofy side, do some behind the scenes stuff. This is what a class is like, right? Like entertainment doesn't just mean funny. It also means like show the drama too, show the serious stuff, but don't get, again, nerdy about it. So these things here, guys, the reason why this is important when we're running ads is because I've done a bunch of case studies recently without telling anybody. I went through a bunch of your guys' stuff and looked at a bunch of your content to be like, and I've talked to Juan about this. And I was like, these gyms that get better results with their ads absolutely do a better job of all this stuff. Like it is like clear as day. Like in the gyms that don't do this stuff. They think they're doing it, but then they're like, again, their posts are like, they're talking as if they're talking to all their existing members who know what all these like acronyms and 24.1 means and dumbbell snatch and like all these stupid terms that like we know that like is only if we're like a seasoned veteran at this, right? So there's absolutely a difference, right? When you do this, everything works better because the more discerning buyer that you want that is going to come in and lay down a $300 or $400 front end offer or a $200 a month membership, they're the people that are going to see the ad and they're not going to fill out the form. They're going to click your profile and then they're going to go and see some of this stuff. And they're going to, because they're more discerning, they're going to be like, okay, what's the real value here? Does it save me time? Does it make my life better? Right. Because that's what people with money care about. Like they care about their time and they care about if it improves their life. If it doesn't improve their life and if it doesn't make good use of their time, then they don't pay for it. Right. So like in some of your inform and educate videos, like you're talking about that time thing, for example, right? Like here's how we get in and out in an hour. And in that hour, we're warming up, we're doing our strength stuff, we're doing our conditioning, and we're cooling down, and we're hanging out with people. And like when someone that's more discerning that appreciates their time hears that, which I don't ever hear any gyms talk about that. The most essential, the best thing we offer is like that we do all that in an hour. That you warm them up, you lead them, they can turn the brain off and just listen. They can warm up. They're going to cool down all in an hour. And the average person, like, has probably never gotten in and out of the gym and warmed up, worked out, and cooled down and left feeling good ever in an hour. They've either left in an hour feeling incomplete because they just wasted their time and didn't know what they were doing, or they spent 2 hours to do that same thing because they have no clue what they're doing, right? So that's huge, right? So discussing these things, like, talk to the average person who doesn't know what you're doing, because that's who's seeing your ads. Okay. And then once you do that, people are going to naturally flow through. They're gonna click on your organic stuff. They're going to go back and fill out that form. What's interesting about ads is, like, the person that doesn't fill out the form, the discerning buyer that doesn't fill out the form the first time around, the ad gets shown to them again. Your ads are getting shown to the same people every day, right? So after they've clicked through and binged on some of your stuff and then got distracted by something on the internet, when they see your ad again tomorrow and they see the other ad from the other ad set that we run hit them, what do? They fill out the form this time. Is it clicking for you guys? Yeah? Got some heads nodding? Okay, cool. Good. All right. This is why it's important we talk about this stuff, right? And, like, yeah, we're going to run the ads for you. That's taking a lot of weight off your shoulders, but you still have work to do. Like, this stuff, and this is like a pillar of your business. This organic content, like, you can build a great business on this alone. And I hope you guys get to a point with your organic stuff where you never have to pay us to run your ads again. Like, do I mind taking your money and making a profit and getting you guys a return on that investment? I don't mind at all. I love it. But it's like, the ads cohort is not like the pillar of what Big Little Gyms is. It's just helping you guys with something that you need help with because it's been asked for a lot. At the end of the day, like, I would love all you guys, through what I'm showing you guys here, to not even have to use paid traffic, because it's a pain in the ass, right? And you can pick your hard, right? Like, you can pick your hard. If you don't want to do all this organic stuff like I'm telling you about, it's going to be hard when you get the leads, because they're not going to show, they're going to no show, they're not going to respond back. You're going to pay for it then, right? You're going to pay for it then. Or you do this work here and, like, your lead quality goes up and up and up because now more people have heard of you and seen your stuff. They've seen testimonials, they've seen some inform and educate, they've seen some value, they've seen some recognition video stuff, they've seen some entertaining things. And the next time they see their ad, does anybody want to contest that they might be more likely to opt in? Okay, good, because you guys are all smart, and you'd be silly, it'd be dumb to contest that. Naturally, that's how we all buy things, right? We buy things that we've seen before, that we built some trust in, that feels like that's going to be worth my time to consider. But when you see an ad where, like, you've never seen them before, they made no effort to educate you, and now you're getting an ad that's like, you need to buy this now. You're like, the audacity to pitch me when you've done no work. Like, if you're a more discerning person, which all you are, because you're business owners and you appreciate your time and you appreciate your money, like, you're not going to do business with that person, right? So that's why I want to dive into this today and bring in a little fire here, because, like, as we wrap up the second month, like I said, 70% of the gyms had great results, but then there's that 30% that are still kind of wallowing somewhere. And we're doing everything we can on the ad side, but the real problem is this. The real problem is this. This is what's missing. Okay. So again, pick your heart here. And then here at the bottom, your hot conversions, all that stuff. If you're doing that well, you're going to get more people converting through opt-ins on your ads, the website, and also you're going to get people DMing you too, because they're going to see your content and just DM you, which is cool. Okay. So that goes to the next paradox, like, which is like the quality volume paradox, right? So, which kind of is going to be repeating some of this same thing, that, like, with ads itself, when we run your ads, because I've heard some of you guys be like, I want better quality leads. Now, here's the thing about better quality leads. If we go to try to create better quality leads, it's going to crush your lead volume. You're going to pay much, much more per lead, because the more friction you have in the opt-in process through trying to qualify the person, if you're trying to make sure the person is a better fit before they opt in, naturally you need to ask more questions, you need more steps, right? So what we're doing when we're trying to improve your lead quality is we're not trying to go too far. We're trying to do it incrementally, because it'd be very easy if we were to add 3 pages into the opt-in process of, like, 10 questions to, like, basically take your lead flow from, like, 10 to 0, So it's really important that we, don't go too far. So we try to incrementally improve it. Right. But again, if you're not doing this stuff, naturally, there's only so much we can do to improve quality, because the only way we're going to qualify them through the ad is to ask them eliminating questions. We're going to ask them questions that are basically going to say, like, if this is not you, see your way out. Are you ready to train 3 days a week? Right. The most direct way to qualify them would be like, do you have $200 a month to spend on fitness? You guys already know what's going to happen if we ask them that question. nobody's going to fill out the form because they don't know why you're worth $200 a month because you're not doing this stuff. Right. So, that's why like we'll go for the highest volume first and get you a lot of leads, and the quality might be low because at the end of the day, like the way that this paradox works is it works more to the benefit to just go for volume and let you guys improve your opportunities through your follow-up, right? So a higher volume of leads at a lower cost will result in lower quality of leads, but ultimately more sales opportunities and the opportunity to improve lead quality with good follow-up, right? So I'd rather you guys have as many opportunities as you can and tell you, hey, have speed to lead, get better. And also, if we do the other thing we just talked about, the organic stuff, that higher volume of leads is going to get better over time. It's not going to get better like, don't go do it. I just don't get motivated. I mean, I want you to get motivated, but don't hang like next month's ad campaign up on, because you got motivated on this, now you're going to go do it. And like, oh, I went and did everything you said, Will, and the leads didn't improve that much in March. It's like, well, they're not going to. This takes time. Like this takes time. They're going to improve incrementally. And they will improve because if you have your last 5 posts is this stuff and we start running ads, you're going to get better leads. Because you're also what you're doing when you do this stuff is, remember, Facebook's an algorithm and a social graph. And so is Instagram and Meta in general. Is that like the way Facebook and Meta know who to serve your ads to is based on like what kind of people already engage with your stuff and how they engage with it. And the way the social graph works is it looks at Nancy, who liked your testimonial post and has watched the whole thing, and says, let's find more Nancys. And then when you run ads, it's showing it to all the Nancys in town who like watched that whole video and liked it and engaged with it. But if you're not doing that, then like, what's Facebook's choice? It's like, well, we're just going to spray and pray. We're just going to spray and pray. So like you get all these random leads and you can't put together like how they even got into your funnel. You can't even put together like, why did this person even click on this? Like why aren't they responding to me? It's like, well, because the ad is well written. The ad is well written and the copy is persuasive. And so it's going to get people that maybe aren't thinking about this to opt in. But that's because it's the only people the ads are showing to are people that aren't thinking about this because you aren't getting people to think about anything. Right? Clicking. Yeah. It's clicking for y'all. Some head nods. Yeah, maybe. Okay. I hope. All right, cool. So that's our quality volume paradox, right? Because if we do the opposite thing and qualify the leads too much, we end up with less total sales opportunities. I was always a big fan of lead volume over lead quality because the quality leads are still in the high volume of leads. So it's not like the people that opted in the more qualified funnel are like not in the higher volume funnel, right? They're still there, but you also have a lot of like mid qualified people that you wouldn't have gotten if you only ran into the qualified funnel. And those people might just need a little bit of follow-up. Those people might just need to see a little bit more content. They might need, a conversation, right? And I'd rather you guys have the opportunity, as many opportunities as possible, and to get better at those things and then train up on those things, right? Okay. And last one, what we talked about earlier, the impulsive discerning buyer paradox, which also just kind of reinforces this whole thing of the more impulsive prospect is typically flightier, less committed, and a lower quality lead, right? They don't follow up, they don't show, they want cheap things. And people with a less impulsive nature, like make decisions to buy without quick spontaneous decisions. So like, again, this just reinforces everything of like, they need to see more of you before they see your ad, and if you do, they're more likely to be like less spontaneous, less impulsive people, right? Because those people, they're more frivolous spenders with no consideration of long-term. And how many people have run ads to like challenges and things like that, and then like notice the churn rate is much, much higher. Those people don't convert. How many people have done that? You got some hands? I cannot be the only one. Yeah, you got some. Here we go. You got some hands. Okay, cool. That's because when you run a challenge, it's like get fit in 6 weeks. That's like super impulsive, get fit quick, right? And if the only people seeing those ads are those impulsive people, then naturally, like that's who you're going to have as customers. And those people, like they don't make consideration for long-term value. So like generally, like when you get to the end of that 6 weeks, they churn. And then we all want to point the finger at the model. We all want to point the finger at the 6-week challenge, but like the 6-week challenge sucks. Like it doesn't work. And it's like, no. Everything that got them there is the problem, right? Because I did all this stuff I'm telling you guys about with my gym, and I ran 6-week challenges. And guess what? We converted like 80% plus of those people into long-term memberships that stayed for years. So when people tell me like it doesn't work and they're not converting people long-term, I'm like, oh, like I already know what your problem is. Like you're not doing what we did, which is the stuff I'm telling you about right here. Because like our buyers wouldn't do that to us because we had a less impulsive natured buyer. Did they want that shorter term like goal? Yeah, but they weren't signing up necessarily because of that. They were looking at it as more of a kickstart towards a longer adventure. It's also how we positioned it as well, right? And that more discerning buyer is going to carefully evaluate the quality, necessity, and value of a potential purchase. Who here would consider themselves a very discerning buyer? Who here likes nice things? Okay, cool. When you go through the mall, if you just see a Louis Vuitton purse, you just jump in and buy it, or do you like, like the dudes, I guess. If you buy one for your wife, and I bought one for my wife, it's like I walked past that thing at the mall like 7 times before I actually went in and look at it. Cause I'm like, I kind of want to, I want to get her, yeah, I want to get her something, but like it's $3,000. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just going to impulsively show up and spend that money. Like take my time and I go in and like, because I'm a dude, I'm like, what are the zippers made out of? And then like, I'm driving the lady crazy with all these detailed things that like no one cares about, but that's me. I'm a more discerning buyer. Right. But when I finally do make that decision, like I become a long-term customer if you deliver on what you're telling me here, right? And when I bought the first high-end purse, and I was like, man, this thing is actually really nicely made. Like I can see why they charge this quality. I like this attention to detail. Like if I'm going to buy my wife a gift, I'm only going to buy her this purse, like these purses, right? Like that's how more discerning buyers work, right? So there's that. And then having more money, people that have more money, more financial resources would naturally lead to more freedom for impulsive purchases. The paradoxical observation there is wealth may be a result of less impulsive and more discernment, right? Same thing. People who have the money to spend on expensive things do so because they delay gratification better and are more discerning, right? So like if I'm a more discerning buyer and I see your get fit quick ad, naturally I'm going to be like skeptical, right? But if I've seen like 7 or 8 of your like high quality content pieces and then I see your get fit quick ad, I'm going to be like, I really like their stuff. This seems like a great opportunity to jump on board with them because I'm like I'm warned, right? Okay, cool. All right. So that's what I have for today, guys. That's what I wanted to get into because like I really want you guys to crush it with your ads. I want to crush the ads for you, but we have a limited scope of control of what we can do with the ads. At the end of the day, like it's everything else around that is part of your whole marketing effort. Because when people shop for things, they don't just see your ad, they look to see what else supports what you're offering them in the ad. And if they don't find support, then they don't make a decision, right? Or you only get the impulsive people that are not going to follow up with you, are not going to show up for their bookings, and probably not going to buy your stuff. So anyways, we got some hands up. Let's go to those hands up and see who's there first. I'm going to take it off the share. First off, like, did you guys find that valuable? Was that a good like content piece? You guys like that? Okay. I saw you guys seem pretty engaged.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you guys liked it. Cool. I don't want to waste your guys' time. I don't want to waste my time. I want to make sure that if we're talking about stuff, it's relevant and useful, and you guys are getting better as a result of it. So, Diego, what's up, man? I see the hand up.
Yes, I have a couple questions here. The first
Yeah.
one, just going quality of leads and how often do you advertise and they can see you consistently. The other thing in there is also very good because now these at this time, especially where I live in Southern California, people check Google, people check the reviews. So if all those things are working for you, if you have good reviews after they seen your ad, you become more a reputable place than somebody running those 6-week ads that they have 10 users or 10 followers in the Instagram and 0 reviews. So they're like, well, should I go with somebody that has never done this? Or somebody that, is a gym that says, hey, look they have 100 reviews and all 5 stars. Something must be happening there. So I think that a lot of times we forget that piece as well. That helps tremendously because shoppers are becoming a little bit smarter. Like you said, for what they see and the time frame that I see people coming in. And a lot of at least come in like at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. It's just people that, they're in bed just cruising through it and just being very reactive and boom, they get that. So definitely like the qualities I even seen this time, right? I haven't seen the volume that I've seen before, but the ones that we're getting, because they have seen it multiple times, they're filling out the forms. They're showing up, right? This is not the first time that we run the cohort ads. It's been about almost a year that we run every quarter, except for one quarter. So they have seen our ads enough. So that's one. Two, another thing that I just start realizing in the last one that we did and start implementing a little bit better this time is when they click on our ad, a lot of times they ask questions on our Facebook page, like, the ad, and they ask, hey, how much it is, and when does it start, right? And I usually send them a DM with that and say, hey, my name is Diego, I'm the owner of CrossFit Reality. This is what the program, kind of like a quick short idea of the program is. I would like to set up some time for you with you so I can understand what your fitness goals are. And then sometimes they reply, hey, yes, great. I thought it was just, some random spam emails, and appreciate you replying to me, whatever the case is. And we set up appointments, so that actually have helped me understand if they're quality leads as well. But I don't know if that counts as a lead or not, because they didn't fill out the form. They didn't go through that click here. They just left me a message. So I'm hoping that is kind of like a free lead, quote unquote, right? Because it didn't come through the lead form.
Yep. No, I love that. Your
And
work. Oh, go ahead, Diego. Sorry.
and then what I implement actually this time is, everybody that likes that post, I'm sending them messages to. And again, they can never fill out a form saying, hey, I don't want you to send me a message. Just see all these people that go into Facebook and and look them up and send them. I already have a format message that I created. So I just keep sending that message left and right. And maybe one or two of those have replied and contact me by phone, and I get them into the door, and we start the process. But to go to back to your point, it does require work. It doesn't just follow my lab, having 150 leads and all the 150 people are gonna sign up. Like, I have to put the time to research, to do this work, and I'm gonna see the benefit of it. So I truly understand that perspective, that not every lead is gonna be great. And I remember being here a year ago, pulling my hair because I was like, hey, well, you sent me a bunch of crap leads because they don't work. And I was able to point the finger at that right here. And I was like, well, I'm not setting this up properly. Like, what am I doing? What am I'm not doing right to be able to get those people in the door, or set them up to appointments, or even getting them into a long-term memberships. Like, it was just nothing wrong with the gym, nothing wrong with the program, nothing wrong with the atomic nutrition, because I was talking to Raquel, like, atomic nutrition doesn't work. They're not sticking. Like, it's not. It's like, we just didn't do a good job to qualify them, and explain them that, hey, look, this is a long-term commitment. It's not I'm going to give you a pill in 30 days. You're going to be all of a sudden in the best shape of your life. And in 60 days, you're going to be making it to the CrossFit game. So,
Yeah, 100%. I like your hat, by the way, Diego.
oh, thank you.
Good looking hat. It looks good on you. It looks good on you. It's got a good fit. It doesn't fit my head as well. I got to get bigger ones. My big noggin. No, I love that, man. No, thanks for reinforcing all those points, man. I mean, that's spot on. And you've crushed every one of your ad campaigns. So it's like, it's not it's not a mystery to me as why, is because like you're doing those other things that set you up for success with it, right? The trouble with ads, with running ads for people, from my angle always is like, they're not doing anything, so they want a shortcut. So like, well, I'm going to spend this money, and hopefully it just takes care of this stuff that I'm not doing the work for. And it's like, well, this is business. There's no such thing as, you can't, in business, like especially in a competitive market, you're going to have to put some effort in, even if you're paying to run ads, right? Like, I look at it like, you guys get to do the fun part. You guys get to create like fun, engaging content. You get to wake up thinking like, I'm going to go get a testimonial from a client. I love creating that kind of content. I think it's super fun. It's like, to have that stuff on your checklist, it's like, cool. Like, you guys don't have to worry about the nerdy stuff, like looking at like click-through rates like we do. It's like, you guys get to do the fun part, which is what you should want to do every day. That should be like part of the soul of why you do this, is like, let's showcase how good we are internally on the outside. That way, when people do see our ads, they're more likely to not look at it as audacious. They're more likely to look at it as like, cool, like, I've seen this guy's stuff. I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity, right? It's the same reason why like Coca-Cola pays for like billboards everywhere that don't even have calls to action on them. It's like, they just want to remind you that if you're thirsty, that Coca-Cola exists. You know what I mean? Because you're driving on the road and you're like, subconsciously like, oh, I am thirsty now. Actually, I haven't had a Coke in a year. I'm gonna go get one, right? And it works. There's a reason why they do it. Good stuff, Diego. Did you have any do you have any questions in regards to, before we move on?
The question there was, does those comments or DMs, the people living in there, do they count towards those leads? Like, that Facebook or
Oh yeah,
Meta charges you for per lead, or it doesn't count them just because they left a message?
it doesn't. Yeah, you won't. The only thing that they'll track is like who actually opts into the form. So like, those ads are all icing. Those are all cherry on the top, right? Leads that come in through your website, people that DM you, people that comment in the thread. And I'm glad you brought that up. I noted it as you were talking. So it's a really good talking point, is like, you guys should be working those leads, because you guys are getting notifications. If they comment on your post, you're gonna get a notification in Facebook that someone commented on your ad. And when you click that notification, it will take you to your live ad where you can see the person commenting. And you should heart their comment. If it's something positive, you should respond to it. And here's why, is because humans, we generally like to run towards the fire, right? Like if we're in a dark place and there's fire off in the distance, we're gonna be like, let's go check that out, right? It's just like a natural dopamine driven behavior of humans, right? So if I see an ad and it has no comments, or it has one comment and one I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, whatever, right? But if I see an ad that has 3 or 4 comments, I'm more likely to click the comments, because we all do it, right? When you go on YouTube and watch a video, what do we all do? You're like, let's see what the comment section has going on, and we can't help it. We're like, it's always a dumpster fire, but it's just part of human nature to be like, let's see what everybody else socially approve of this, and either it's all positive or it's negative. So you can kind of prop that up. It's kind of leans to what I call the paid organic strategy, which we've talked about, and there's videos on in the school group, where you can have an ad and then have people engaging with it. And if you'll have members, I know, because I get the notifications for your guys' posts, because I'm an admin on your pages. So I'll see when people respond to your stuff, and I'll see members of yours commenting on your stuff, and none of you guys go on and comment and say, hey, thanks for being a member at our gym. Really appreciate these kind words. When you do that, if you only have 1 comment, it now makes it 2. So now you have twice as much engagement on the post. And then because you did that and you rewarded for good behavior, another member who's friends with that member, who sees that they commented, is more likely to comment. And now you can comment on their comment and be like, hey, thanks for the kind words and thanks for being a member, right? And if I'm running ads and I see an ad that has 100 likes and comments on it, I'm more likely to engage with that ad, because it doesn't look like a brand new ad. It looks like something that's been around, right? So you're creating some endorsement of your ad by doing that. So you should definitely do what Diego is saying, but it does not count as leads. And I also like what you said there about DMing the likes and the comments. You guys should all do that. If someone likes your ad, which you can see who they are, go into Facebook, find their profile. Some of you guys might be uncomfortable with this. It's not below me to do it. I'll friend request them because they're local, and I'll be like, hey, this is Will over at Spark CrossFit. I used to do this. I saw you liked the post. Thanks for liking the post. We're right around the corner at XYZ address. You got time to come on down for a free workout this week? I would just kind of like a friend, right? I wouldn't be salesy. It's you got time to come down for a workout this week? Or you got time to come on down and check out the gym? And then if they said yes, I'd be like, okay, you want to come down Thursday or Friday? And I'd book them, right? Same with the comments. I would respond to their comment, like the comment, because what that does, that lights up their notification thing, because the average person isn't getting a dozen notifications a day like we do. They're lucky if they get 1 or 2, because no one engages with their stuff. So when you engage with their stuff, you make them feel good, right? And when you send them a DM and be like, hey, just reaching out to say hi, thanks for commenting on our post, where do you work out now, right? Ask an open-ended question. Where do you work out now? What are you doing for your fitness now? Oh, that's cool, and then go for the appointment. I love that strategy, and it's you're seasoning your ads, is what I call that. You're seasoning it. It's there's a plain burger, which is oh, okay. Or it's a burger with truffle salt on it. You're like, oh yeah, that's the burger I want, right? So you sprinkle some truffle salt on your ads. It'll help for sure. Cool. Does that answer your question though, in regards to the lead counting, Diego?
Absolutely. I just was wondering, because in my mind, even though I pay for the ad, I still consider it a free lead. It's an organic lead that,
Yeah.
just took my time to reach out. And if I get 2 of those per campaign to close and come to the gym, just fucking win.
100%.
The value that I made on them for not paying for it, I'll take
Yeah.
it.
I almost feel like that traffic you get that way, that spin-off traffic that goes through your website, or goes in DMs or comments, that traffic is often better quality traffic than the people that actually fill out the forms a lot of times, because it just
There's
is.
a couple of those that they have seen the previous campaign, because I see now their messages, in the DMs. And I
Yeah.
say, hey, I reached out to you last time. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to get back to you. When can I go see you? Perfect.
Yeah.
That guilt thing that I already reached out to you last time. You didn't want to come in. How about this time?
Yeah. You're working the pipeline, man. That's just being a good salesperson. You know what I mean? The best salespeople aren't necessarily the most persuasive people. They're people that are really good at working the pipeline. They're always moving people a little closer to the end of the pipeline where there's a sale made, right? So you're just little by little moving this crowd of people that are in your pipeline closer to the end of the pipe. Those type of salespeople, which I consider myself that type of salesperson myself, which I've been awarded by General Motors for sales, won a bunch of awards for building this company around sales. And it's I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm like the kind of person that's trying to trick people into buying anything. In fact, like I probably tell more people not to buy my stuff than I do try to like trick people into buying anything. Most people choose to buy my stuff because like by the time they get in front of me, they already have enough motivation to want to buy to where all I got to do is offer it. Right. Like you're just moving them closer. So yeah, it's awesome. Good stuff. Let's get some more questions answered here. Samin, what's up? How are you, Samin?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. And Aaron, I see you there too, but Samin's going to go first and then we'll get to you.
Yes. Couple of quick things. So in regards to doing the content right now with the open, I know this is like a big thing, like this is why the music is loud, sorry. But what are your thoughts on, because I'm guessing people probably as well, like everyone right now, if you're a CrossFit gym, is putting all, a lot of time into the open. What are your thoughts on some of the content? Because we want it to be outward facing and people aren't necessarily going to know what the open is. But what are your thoughts on having some of that like longer form content about the open, like about their experience with the open, or like, if it's their first time, like how was it kind of thing? Or is that too targeted towards something that like the general public wouldn't know? Because we've been like, what we've been doing now with like our intramural open is we're trying to get like as many of our new members, like the ones who started in the past month, like literally one of the girls, her first day was yesterday and we've signed her up. We're like, surprise, here you are. And so do you think it's too specific to to feature it?
No, I don't. I think those are great. Like, so it's easy for me to say like don't talk about the open and it'd be like, or it'd be taken as don't talk about the open. So it's more about like how you talk about something, right? It's the storyline, right? Like you have a lot of stories going on in your gym right now. You have and the problem is the story that tends to get told by the CrossFit gym is like always the story of like the guy that's like going from good to great, or the girl that's going from good to great, right? It's very rarely the story of like, Wendy, who's like just started in the last year, has gotten fitter. You're telling a little bit of the prequel of the story of like, okay, Wendy's lost 10 pounds in the last year. Her life has improved immensely. And now she's going to give a go at this open thing. And it's a challenge that all of our, we like all of our members at some point to be able to take. Right. Like, so, and then also sharing the community side of it from it. I think that is one thing I think a lot of gyms do a good job of. I just think like, outside of that, the only other thing they're posting is like all these like huge wins of like their top athlete, getting 10th in the local thing. And like, is that cool? And should it be recognized? Yes. But like, that's like all they'll be, right? They're not like, that should only be like 1/10 of the pie. There needs to be these other things still going on. I think, I don't know if you were on for the beginning of the call here, me when I showed this, but like, if I go back to this here, at the end of the day, like no matter what, you want to hit all these tenants in your content pretty regularly. You want to, you still need to, I mean, while the open's going on, sure, showcase the open, do the behind the scenes stuff, tell those storylines, but you still need to get testimonials out, right? You still need to inform and educate. You still need to give value videos. And this is the problem when the app open happens. Or for gyms that aren't a CrossFit gym, even the gyms that have other intramural type of things going on that are similar to what CrossFit does with the open, is like you still need to stay consistent with this stuff. Otherwise, it inundates your feed and then like it disrupts your ad performance because people go to your feed because that's like literally what people do, right? I do it with everything. Like I said earlier, I'm a very discerning buyer. So like anything I see that's like a good ad, I will click and go to their feed and be like, okay, what have they been talking about in the last 3, 4, 5 posts? Or I go into the comment section of the post to be like, okay, there's a lot of comments here. Let's see what people think about this. So I'll do one of those two things to look for signals of whether or not I should continue considering this, because I don't really want to fill out another lead form because I already get enough emails and texts, right? That's the average discerning buyer who's going to be a good buyer at Samin's gym. So like, you still got to entertain, and the open is a good opportunity, I think, to do some entertain stuff, like do the behind the scenes, but give the why, right? Like what even is this thing, right? Rather than like the assumptive nature of so many open posts being like, they just say the open in 24.1. Like I went through a case study yesterday with a gym and like, that's how all their posts are. And I'm like, oh, they're not even talking about what this is. If I'm someone looking at this for the first time, I'm like, I'm confused as hell. And I am probably also like very pushed away because like, you're not even like, I would be open. I'm kind of curious, but like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? And like, so we got to like get out of our own circle sometimes and remember that. So there is definitely opportunity here, and there is a lot of positive from it because we did leverage it with our community. We used to talk about the open, but we never strayed from this pattern of content while it was going on.
Okay. That makes sense. And the other question I had, because I know with reels, with videos on Instagram in particular, that at a certain point, like I think it's around, I don't know if this was, maybe you said this number, there's a lot of numbers sitting in my head and sitting in this little notebook, but like after like about 10-15 seconds that like a person isn't going to really stay in, like they're just going to kind of keep scrolling. So with like the longer form posts, obviously like you can't talk about like, you know, the informing, educating, like the value of it, obviously you can't do in usually 15 seconds, but should it be like, do you have any kind of ideas or recommendations for like times, like oh my gosh, words are hard, I'm sorry.
No
like
worries.
the length of the videos, because I've done this before where like I remember doing some like I've done some where it's like, okay, it's super cute video and like love it, and then you can see like, because you can see where people stop watching it, and it's like around the 13-second it just went from like 80% to like 6, and I was like, okay, so all this was kind of a waste of time for me to edit.
Yeah, so that goes back to the quality of the video, right? So like people will take that first 5 seconds to decide if they should continue watching, and if they didn't, and if so you have a high drop off, that means like what was in the beginning of the video wasn't enough to hook them. And it's often not the stuff that we think is going to be like, our brains tend to think too slow about this, like as the creator. This is what I've learned, 'cause I'm doing a lot of this right now. Like this is almost like my job now at BLG is media creation, because I've got people in sales, I've got people in operations, I got people in fulfillment, and I'm definitely in, you know, zooming in and zooming out on those things regularly to make sure like things are running well. But like my day job for BLG is like media and content creation now, because like that's how we're going to keep growing, because now that we have a good team to fulfill, I just need to keep pumping into it. So like as I'm learning about reels, it's like, oh, I've learned like the best ones. I've had enough like ones I didn't think were going to hit that were like total outtakes that like, and then like I had to learn backwards, like why did those ones hit? And so like it's all about pattern interrupt, but then like people do the pattern interrupt, and then like the content afterwards is really not that good, right? Like the storytelling is not that good. And so the waters run super deep on this, right? This is where you get into that world of like understanding like you know, like what keeps people watching, and like studying. We could spend an hour on this. I mean, I would definitely say like I've learned a lot from YouTube, just like watching like videos on how to watch YouTube videos on how to create good YouTube videos. Like even watching like Mr. Beast and like how he starts and intros a video. Like if you just model him, like he never starts off a video, hey guys, it's you know, whatever his name is, I don't forget his name, it's Mr. Beast, and here's what we're gonna do today. It's like this happened, oh my god, blah 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 blah, and it like takes you right into the video, and then it just doesn't relent. Right now, like obviously we don't have the ability to like do as much production as he does, but like can we hook people better with that first set of words and then take them into a story, right? Because like that's what people are looking for, is like a story. Like they don't really want like yeah, I don't know, that's what's going to keep them watching. So like that's where like practice is going to help. But here's what I'll say is like you only get better at content by doing it consistently. Like and you're going to have times where like you're in love with it and you're going to be like, man, I'm really enjoying doing this content thing. It's fun. I'm learning, I'm creating better content. It's working a little bit. And then you're going to burn out on a little bit, and you're going to be like, oh, I just don't have any ideas right now. I'm trouble. The creative engine's not going. I got this thing going on over here in the business, and I can't think about this right now. This is totally me right now. This is like me in my last year. Is like, I'll have a month where I'm like flying high on content, and I'll create tons of great content, tons of great reels, tons of great short form and long time form content. And it's all working. And then like the next month it's just gone. And I'm like, I empty the tank, and I'll be really hard on myself. Like this is your job, Will, you need to do this. But I realized like as I stopped being hard on myself and just realized that's going to happen, and B, just like when I am into it, get into it and like really get into it, and like, okay, I'm going to model more content like this. And this is where like I'll go out and be a better consumer and like find content that I like that has hooked me, and I'll like model that content. I'll be like, okay, I really like the way this person I'm watching right now does their stuff, and gets me to keep watching past that first 15 seconds. Again, we can go, there's entire books written on this stuff. So it's more than just like internet. Like TV was the same way for like 100 years prior to the internet. Like we're not dealing with a new psychological mechanism here. It's faster, and it's coming at us faster, but it's really the same set of things of like, you know, if you ever watch like Friends, like it was like they didn't start with the Friends intro. They always started with like you in the middle of the story, and then like what's going on, and then it cuts to the little, I forget what the song is. I'm gonna mix it up, but I wanted to sing the song for you guys, but you guys know the Friends song, and then it goes like dumps you back off where that left off because it's hooked you,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
same thing. So you can really nerd out on this, and I would love if enough of you guys got nerdy about this to be able to talk more in depth about this. I just feel like it's going to go over a lot of people's heads. I think first, I'd rather just say you just need to publish consistently. Like it's every day I publish something. It's not perfect. I'm not an expert. It's not going to be perfect. I'm just getting it done. And then as you publish more, you're going to find that like 2 out of 10 videos hit, and you're going to be like, oh, there's a pattern in those videos that hit that I recognize that I did. I'm going to do more videos that way. And then 4 out of 10 start hitting. You know what I mean? Like just like just like working out and doing CrossFit, right? Like you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So like, you know, you just start with an empty bar. You know what I mean? Not impressive. No one's watching. The great thing about it is like the views are the lowest when you kind of suck. So if the video is not great, it doesn't matter. You publish it anyways, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This
Hopefully
is
that
like
helps.
this is like the business workout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And so many people are concerned with perfectionism of like, it's got to be good and I've got to go get like a professional camera. And I do this to myself too. I think it's actually how I burn myself out every freaking time I burn out is if you saw my desk right now, it's like I've got all this gadgetry that I've accumulated. And like I'll get in a habit of just publishing and I'll be doing good. And then I'll be like, it's working. And I'll be like, let's go get like a new camera. Let's go get a new like boom arm for my mic. Let's get a new light. There's a freaking light over my head right there. It's not on right now because the windows give me enough light. But like, and then I buy all this stuff and it shows up at my door and I'm like, now I got to put it all together. And it's like, it's derailing my day. And like, now I'm not publishing. And then like, I'm out and then I'm off. So I'm like recognizing my own patterns that like, just keep it simple and just keep publishing. Like, don't like, you know, I think some of you guys have similar brains to me. Like, I think a lot of us are this way. Otherwise we wouldn't have started gyms. Cause no one with a normal, like, balanced brain is like, yeah, I'm going to like, I want to make a lot of money. Let's start a gym. Like, no. Like we do this because like there's some other driver there. And also like, it's not about that. Like, but we do want to be successful. But a lot of us to some degree probably have some impulsion and like that can derail us. So it's like, I think just being, you know, get your camera phone out, publish something today. That's what it's all about. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay, cool. Aaron, what's up, dude?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, 2 things. First thing was we've had a really good response from replying to people's stories who were leads. I don't know why, whether Facebook blocks those differently or not. But like we've had our trainers over the last week, pretty much anyone who came in through Facebook go through, and if they're publishing stories, replying to those as like a icebreaker, and it's been crushing and like response rate compared to just normal message requests. So just in case you cared. But
so just a bit, sorry, I want to ask you about that if I could before you move on to the next question. Don't forget your other question though, because I want to make sure we come back to it. So you're basically when someone replies to something that you posted, you create a story in response and post to that.
no, so we'll actually read. So like basically what we found is, you know, at one of our gyms, I think you guys had like 76 lead submissions for last month, right?
Yeah.
But what we wanted to do was we were like, well, how do we get more of these people in? So we started stalking them on Facebook. And if they had stories, right? So when you look at their profile, you can click on it. If it views story, if you reply to their story, for some odd reason, it's like bypassing some of the message gateways.
I like that.
And so we found that that's working super well right now, just to like start the conversation and obviously replying to their story about their story first before you go into whatever else. But we found that that's working really, really good for our coaches to go do. So I just wanted to throw that out there. For some odd reason, whether Facebook's figured it out yet, there's a thing that's not blocking it the same as like, you know, when someone messages you on Facebook, it goes into request and doesn't notify you. When it goes to story, for some odd reason, I don't know whether it's notifying them or what, but we're getting a response rate that's like 30x what regular messages are.
That's all. No, that's an awesome kind of like almost like hack, because I'm sure they'll close that loop. But
yeah, 100%.
Also, I think like Facebook, I don't think it's an accident. I think they do it on purpose. Where like certain things they're trying to build the platform on, they'll remove some of their rules and limitations for a while, and then they'll eventually put limitations in place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that. I dig that. I've actually had people do that to me, and I've noticed that. And I've like whenever I see someone do something to me, because I get outreach all the time from like, it's funny, like being in the marketing world, like I get marketed to like the most. Like you guys would be blown away how many like people like daily try to sell me things, like because I own Big Little Gyms and they notice that we are a like marketing-ish company. They're like, they want to sell me like their coaching. It's like coaching, selling coaches, teaching coaches how to coach coaches. Like it's like it's nuts. Anyways, like most of those get filtered, but I notice when if I posted a story, they'll go on and like just do a little like fire emoji to my story. I'll get the notification every time. And then they'll be like, when they've seen that I've seen that, it's like a tactic they're doing. They'll respond back and be like, "Hey, how's it going? Just saying hi." Like they'll just just to get the DM going.
The
And
same thing with me is on Instagram. I noticed it on Instagram because
yeah,
like 100 and something thousand people who follow, and so I get the same thing. But I was like, why this? I don't follow this person, and they don't follow. Like, why am I getting this? So I was like, well, let's just test this on Facebook and see if
Yeah.
it works. And it's still a hole in the algorithm. So for whatever it's worth, for however long it's open, good luck.
that's a great share, brother. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. I'm gonna maybe use that myself even. Cool. And then you had your other question. I didn't want to forget about that.
Yeah, so we're gonna and I mentioned this to Juan via text yesterday. But we're gonna, and we went through your no sweat intro 28-day kind of like Kickstarter program, and we're gonna try to roll that out. We're just gonna obviously, throw our little spin on it for our program. Is there any ad difference or any different style of content or anything like that that you guys would recommend for us to do those things, or is it pretty much the same play from your guys' side? Because we've only ran the 7 days so far, so if there's any like nuance or anything that we can change up to just have better results, I'd love to know.
Yeah. So if you're running a campaign with paid ads, and I do this is not unique to Jim. This is like any model of business. It makes sense to like in some of your other content setting up for like the ad, right? So like I think doing the inform, educate, testimonial stuff, and then at the end of some of those videos, not all of them because you don't want to get too pitchy, but at the end of them, be sure to check out our upcoming 28-day Kickstart, right? Just drop a little line in there. Just let them know, just make them aware that it's coming up. Because we don't want your organic stuff to be like pitchy and just making offers of people. I'd say it's like probably a 1 out of 3 to 1 out of 5 ratio. Just drop that in there. Maybe even and then you could also even just 1 out of 5 videos, do a video that's about it, right? Like, here's what we have coming up. Want to let you guys know about it. I think you have to earn your pitches. That's the way I look at it. So if you do really, really good, valuable content that like over delivers to people and like, hey, here's some really good stuff that's going to help you with hip pain, right? If you do something that really helps solve a common problem that like they'd have to go to like a physical therapist to figure out, like if you do that and then follow it up with some really good testimonial content and then some really good inform and educate content, you've kind of earned the ability to be like, hey guys, I want to tell you guys about this upcoming thing we're running at the gym here. Here's the problem we're going to be solving. If you're interested in this, comment below, do like a hand raise thing if you want, like, comment, fire emoji below, right? I don't think it hurts to put that on their radar as long as it's in balance, probably like 5 to 1 of like good quality content otherwise.
Yeah, we typically just jab on our organic and then just let the ads do the hook. Typically been our strategy.
Yep.
But in our private group that we started for our area that you guys recommended, that's we've earned enough trust and respect in there to probably throw one of those out.
Yeah, I would definitely for that. Let me show you this real quick. I'll show you, you're probably in it, but I'll screen share. This strategy is perfect for the gym that has the free community group for the local. Let's see, I'll show you a screen share here. So I call this like the honeypot post and hand raise method. So like, are you in this group, Aaron? This Big Little Gyms community, particularly grow your gym in any market with 1.5K people?
Yeah, I'm in it.
Okay, cool. This is like our free group, right? So like, and I did this same strategy when I had my gyms. I had like a Phoenix fitness, because we're in Phoenix. So I had like a Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe area. I had like those keywords in the title, video. And then in here, like I was doing some, sharing some of my posts in here, of course, just to like, inform, educate, and entertain. But then I would have these like hand raise posts, right? Of like something really, really valuable. And this is like, it's the same model as what I'm doing here. I would just do it for a gym, right? Like, it'd be a video or a guide, like a guides, like a PDF of how to do something, like would be perfect for a gym that you put in here, but you're not giving it to them. You post a really cool media piece here that you can make in Canva, and you talk a little bit about the problem it's going to solve. And you'd be like, if you want this, comment fitness below. And, like this group, I may be only posting this thing like once a week, if that. I'm not really that active in it. But every time I do it, I still get like 30, 40 replies. There's some of these that have, you know, hundreds of replies. And it works just as well for my gym. And then those people that comment with the fire emoji or, you know, free guide response in the comment, you now have permission to DM them, right? Like they basically are being like, okay, cool, you can send me the thing. So I'll DM them and be like, hey, what's going on? And a lot of times I don't even give them the thing. I just start having a conversation about like, how's, you know, like how's things going? Like, where are you training now? Like, oh, okay, cool. Well, you know, and I'll just go over to the appointment assumptively. I'll be like, you know, I got some availability on Thursday and Friday to like show you the gym, which day works better for you. And I'll just book them. And then like most of those people show up, right? But what's going on in here is like you're, you know, like this is my client win thread. You should have one of these too, where you're basically screenshotting all the testimonials and dropping your testimonial videos in here, and then tagging that person is in it, who's in it as well. That way, when someone gets in here, they have this like never ending post of testimonials that like is like, this is like me saying I am who I say I am. Like I'm not saying that necessarily, my customers are, but this is me backing it up, right? So like if you have the free group thing going, I 100% recommend this method, which I haven't really done like a full breakdown on because not enough gyms are doing the free group method. We're leveraging it. Most gyms aren't even running their paid groups very well, let alone their free, running a free group well. But you know, I would definitely recommend something like this.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if like from your guys' side on paid, like if there was like anything that we needed to do different for the ads for the 28 day as opposed to the 7.
Oh yeah. No, you mean as far as like the content piece that's in the video, it's in the ad itself too.
Yeah, I didn't know if like there was anything else that was needed.
It never hurts to give us more new media. I'll tell you that for sure. Different colors, different backgrounds, different people, different energy. Like, you know, that never hurts because like the more pieces we have to roll out, like regardless of the offers change, just to that point, like it doesn't matter that it's 28 day or not. In fact, I would like, if you cannot mention the specific name, that way you can use that. If it's a good piece, we can use it in a lot of different offers. Like, you know, I would just create some new stuff because like, you never know when you're going to find that video that's like, that makes you your next $10,000 because that one's just hitting and it just hits every time. You know what I mean? So if you are already like, if you're asking that because you're saying, hey, I can go make some more content if you tell me to. Well, I'm just going to tell you, go ahead and make some more content because I'm telling you to. Like, just do it. Like, regardless of whether or not like the offers change. If you guys get us new pieces every month, we'll mix them in. And if they're not working, then we won't run them. I know it's effort and it can feel like wasted effort, but that's okay. Like that's part of the gig here is like new media. We're trying to find the 1 out of 10 piece that is just a banger. Like, and I'll tell you, like when you find a banger piece, like you can ride that thing for like a year or two and it will make you a lot of revenue. So like it never hurts because you get better every time at doing it too. So like, why not, you know?
Yeah, and we have no problem doing that, so that's not an issue. I just wanted
Sweet.
to know. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna mess that up because we're really excited about getting the no sweat 28 day going. So.
Yeah, I'm pumped to see how you do it, man. I know you guys are gonna crush it. Awesome, cool. Any other questions, Aaron?
Nope, that's it, man.
Okay, awesome. Charlie, what's up, dude? Oh, you're muted.
There we go. So yeah, I had to find a unmute. So I know you were talking about earlier that you go in, people who have like liked your posts and stuff like that, you go in and you message them or like comment on the reels and stuff. Are you doing that from your personal profile or is there a way to do that from the business? I've kind of been messing with it as I was listening. And
you could do either. I mean, I do both. Sometimes I forget which one I'm even signed into, and like I'll go respond to something with my personal one. But I don't mind. The nice thing about the personal one is that's the one I'm signed into most. So if they reply back, I'll get the notification versus like if it's on my business profile, sometimes I don't get the notification if they replied back. And then there's like an open loop in the comment section. So doesn't really matter as long as your personal profile is like dressed up for you being representative of your gym. You know, like everything I do when I had my gyms was that way. Like my you know, cover photo was like, you know, the cover photo that, you know, like that says like I own this gym and all this stuff. And it says my position at my gym. And I even have posts on my profile from the gym. So that way people knew it was like me, the owner, responding to their stuff, not like some random
right.
dude, you know. In
Well,
your
I'm
case,
working on
I think
building.
you're general manager.
Yeah.
So like in your case, it'd be like the general manager of the gym, which is kind of viewed in the
Yeah.
same light as like the owner.
Yeah, I've been like restructuring my profile to be more like what we were saying and
Yep.
less personal.
I would, if you want to make it easy, we have some done for you stuff already in the classroom in school that a bunch of gym owners have or used. So here, I'll show you where it's at, because a few of you guys might, for this conversation, want to check it out. If you go to school and you go to the search bar and type in the word hunting, right here, we have this module. It's called Hunting and Farming on Facebook. And right here, setting up your Facebook profile for success. You can just search that as well. And it gives you the Canva docs for like the cover photo, and you can edit it. And I even walk through like literally like setting it up on Canva, like click, point and click, and like what to put in your bio and all this stuff to kind of like sharpen it up so it looks more professional. I would definitely go through and follow this module. Everybody should do this.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, it did. I
Okay,
just didn't know
cool.
like if you were like suggesting like do it from the business profile or do it from your personal profile or just do it from both.
I do it from both. Doesn't really matter. I don't think it really matters. People on their end, they're going to see someone responded, and they're going to see, and then they're going to be like, "Who's this guy?" And then like, you know, it's better if it looks like professional and has a good headshot in the your little avatar picture and a cover photo and all that stuff. It just signals like, oh, this gym runs their stuff tight, right? Like, it's kind of weird if like a manager or like an owner of a business is responding to my stuff, and then I go to their profile and it's like them on a fishing boat. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't really, you know what I mean? It doesn't look as professional as when I get there and they got a nice cover photo and it's branded and they got a nice headshot and their bio is filled out the right way. It just like, if I'm that more discerning buyer that we talked about earlier in this call, like it's going to connect with me a little bit better than like, I don't know, got a picture of dude in tank top on his fishing boat. Hopefully you don't have a picture of you in a tank top on your fishing boat. I'm not insulting you right now, because I'm like, oh, that's totally possible that Charlie's
Totally gonna
on.
go take my fishing boat. No.
Yeah, sorry, Charlie. I didn't mean to accidentally
No.
insult you. I have not looked at your profile, so I don't know what you have there, but I'm like, there's odds are someone here has a tank top on a fishing boat, because that seems like a pretty common thing these days, or not these days. It just is. But yeah, no, yeah, sharpen that up, and yeah, respond on either one, man. I personal's nice because then you get the notification, and like when you're signed into your personal one on the app and on the phone, then you can just be a little faster getting back to people, which is, speed to lead is the name of the game. So yeah, that's what I would do. Cool. Awesome. Juan, what's up, man? I see the hand up. You're muted. Still muted.
Here it is. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had like the whole chat window covering the controls window. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to give like a quick overview of this entire call, like a kind of a summing up, and run it with you to see if, I mean, that makes sense. But before, maybe we can just respond something that Derek had on the chat, if you don't mind.
Yeah, there's some questions there.
Yeah. So let me just go back. So okay. So Derek wants to be able to run 3 aspects of his program: the personal training, the quick start, and the nutrition on its own. And he's asking all at once, 1 month each one simultaneously. My take is that we would just run the ads for the guaranteed results program, and then based on whatever people wants to do, they can address the sell towards one direction or the other one. Or what's your take on that?
Good question. Sorry, I was trying to find the actual post to kind of follow along with you explaining it.
At
It's
2:04 p.m. 2:04.
Okay.
One of the first
Okay, yeah,
questions.
Derek, yeah, he said want to be able to run 3 ad aspects: personal training, quick start, and nutrition on its own all at once. 1 month, another. Oh yeah, those are 3 separate offers. He's pretty much talking about 3 separate offers, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, generally with the way we run the ad campaigns, I mean, that's almost like 3 separate campaigns. And we generally don't do it that way and don't advise it either necessarily. I'd say pick whatever the one is that generally is going to generate you the most new client acquisition. And then when they get there in person, you can still offer them all 3 in person. It's better to make those offers in person than run 3 different campaigns, because then it's really hard. You'd have to run a lot of ad sets. You'd have to run 3 ad sets towards offer 1, 3 ad sets towards offer 2, 3 ad sets towards offer 3. I know Derek's not here, but maybe he'll come back and watch the recording. This is also for you to explain to him if you talk to him, because I know he's new to the program and he jumped off. But like you generally want to refine your ads around one offer unless you have an enormous budget. Like if you have like a $300 a day budget, then sure, or like a $200 a day budget, then sure, we can then break out 3 ad campaigns for $50 each, and we can run 3-4 ad sets at each offer, and then we can optimize each one. But if if that's not the situation, which is most of you guys aren't in that situation, most of you guys have a 30, 60, $90 a day budget, it's generally better to target it on one offer and then let us try to find like what copy and media and results or way of setting it up works best. So.
Right. Then the next question, the next minute, he says, also PMs are completely full, need AM and midday classes to reach max capacity as possible. So what I did told him on that before over text is that we can maybe put something on the ad copy on the text, right? But at the end, there's no way that we can actually target someone that actually is looking to do only mornings or middays, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that in the ad because that's something that's better to do in the sales process. So if he uses the no sweat intro process, it has that card in there that has like the class times. And when you're sitting with them, you can just say, hey, these class times are full right now. Which of the morning class times do you want to join on? And if the person can't do any, then you just address that there, right? Like I'd rather have the person in front of me in my gym where they can give me money and be talking about that than be chopping away at my total addressable market by saying in the ad, we're only taking morning people, right? Because you're probably going to eliminate like 70% of the people that are going to opt in. And here's the thing is like most people, they come in and go through the no sweat intro process, they'll bend on that. Like right now, if you're like, I'm looking for a gym and I want the gym that's going to serve me best, and I only want to work out in the afternoons, that doesn't mean I can't work out in the mornings. That's just my preference. But if I come in and meet with you and you hit a home run in the no sweat intro process, and I'm like, I really want to train here, but then you tell me it's the afternoon classes are full, I might say then, I really want to train here. I can make a concession for a while. I'll train in the mornings, but when an afternoon slot opens up, will you let me know? Mm-hmm. Right? So that's a much better thing to approach in the sales process than try to call out to in the ads, because if you call that out in the ads, the average person is going to be like, nope, not doing mornings. You know what I mean? Because that's like 70% of people, right. 80% of people aren't training at all. And like of those 80%, how many are going to get up extra early before the kids get up to go get a workout in just because it works for us? They're not going to, right? You're going to chop away at a lot of your addressable market. So I think it's a better idea to just leave that open and address that in a persuasive way in the sale itself.
Right. Thank you for responding to that. And then my kind of wrap up for this is like, and also because we have a couple of new members for the ads cohort, basically this is a numbers game, right? And we have already, and you mentioned this a lot of times, that normally on paid ads, we should look into a 1 to 10 ratio of actually people sold or confirmed, right? So what people will do, I mean, that's our job, to get you more leads at the best price possible, regardless of their condition, of their wealth, or how good or bad they are. But then with all of the things that you covered on today's calls, you're basically rising that percentage from 10 maybe to a 20 or 30, right? And you have much more opportunities than if we, from our side, from the ads cohort, for you guys, chop off some heads, putting more steps in the way, or making it more picky for them to obtain. You certainly leave people behind that maybe you could have served and you could have revenue from, right? That's like my main takeaway of this call, right?
100%. Yeah. Like if you're an authority in your area and most people know who you are, when you run ads, the lead quality is going to be very, very high, because like people already there's already some authority. There's already some position you've built in people's minds locally. Right. Versus like if you're an unknown and you're marketing at me, like, again, it can come off as audacious to be like, you want me to just do business with you? Like, okay. Like, so that's where like, you just get a lower quality of leads. Yeah. You're definitely raising the temperature of your total addressable market, right? Like around your guys' gyms, you probably have 10, 20, 30,000 people. That is your total addressable market. Like the great thing about a gym that's different from a lot of other businesses is you can serve everybody. Like a plumber can't serve everybody because not everybody owns a home. And like, also not everybody has broken pipes or needs their pipes replaced. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you guys can serve everybody, but you also need to get everybody to know who you are, which is like tough, right? So like, how do you do that? It's like, well, it's not just by firing off ads to, you know, Facebook, when you're running ads, it's trying to find people that it thinks are good fits for your program. But like, it doesn't know if no one's warming that audience up and signaling that they are interested, right? Just start spraying it to everybody. So yeah, 100%. I'll definitely say like Big Little Gyms is a good example. Like this company, when I started it, I was like, I don't want to build the company on ads. Like I want to build, and it took me a long time, but just by continually producing a lot of free good content all the time for people, like I earned people's trust. And after enough time of that, like when I do run ads, like, man, people like they work very, very well. And like that wouldn't be the same. I would not get the same result with those ads if I just turned them on at the beginning without doing that work. It's completely different outcomes, right? So, you know, and as I've done this more and more, run ads for more and more gyms, kind of the part of the reason why we didn't offer ads years ago is like I didn't want to do it because like this is exactly the problem with most gyms is they just like they don't want to do any work when it comes to this side of their business. They'll do all the work when it comes to coaching their classes. They don't want to do the work on this side of the business. And then, you know, we go and run ads and now we have to be contentious with them as to like why they're not working. And it ends up being our fault, even though like we're kind of fighting an uphill battle because there's no work done prior or being done on the side to help that along. Right. So, yeah, no, what you said there is spot on, one, and definitely repeats what we talked about earlier of like those other things you got to be doing, which is just like we should all want to do those things for our business. You know, if you care a lot about this thing and like you love it as much as you say you do, and you're as good as you say you are, then like that should come out like in every outlet you have available to you. And what better outlet than the outlets that like you have available to you for free that like if it's good is going to show it to like thousands of people. Right? Like you should want to do that, you know? And there's going to be days where you don't, you got to bring yourself to do it, but you have to lead yourself with the right intention that like, okay, I'm not good at this. I'm not comfortable doing it, but I know that if I do it and get good at it, it's going to be really good for my business. Right. So you're thinking longer term. Right. And you're also putting your own like judgments of yourself aside of like, cause that's, I think it holds a lot of people, a lot of business owners back from like publishing more content is like, there's this perfectionism going on. And I'm like, oh, that's the worst way you could go about this because like it's not going to be perfect no matter how hard you try. When you first start doing content regularly, like we talked about earlier, you get good by doing it and looking at the numbers.
The most perfect videos that I saw for the Ask cohort, they were actually not working that well for one of our gyms that were at the Ask cohort, right? So that's a living proof of that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Diego, what's up, man? I see your hands up. We'll make Diego the last one, then we'll call it for the day. Appreciate you guys staying on for the long call today. I was fired up about what I wanted to talk about today. So like I was cool with going long. I'm glad you guys hung in there with me.
Loved
No,
it.
I appreciate that, man, because when you get fired up, we get fired up. Let me put it that
Good.
way. So you know, you don't have something behind and that makes us you know, do something better at the end of the day. So I appreciate for that.
Yeah, man, my
But
pleasure.
and the same note, right? Like something that you said and you know, I heard her many times, this whole thing with the open, and you know, how for the longest time for the past 2.5 years or 3 years I owned the gym, always wanted to make that open be the ultimate amazing experience that I'm gonna wow every single person. And you know, I always continue to drive through that until this year coming in here. And you know, and I finally had to put my owner's hat and say, what is the revenue that I bring with this open, right? Yes, a CrossFit is getting $20. I might sell some shirts, but what I'm putting in here might be like $2,000 budget just to keep people happy for the next, you know, 3 weeks or so. So when I was talking to our head coach, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give you a budget. And I want you to think about like an owner, like what do we want to accomplish from this? And at the end of the day, you know, by questioning and really digging in, we realized, hey, look at let's not concentrate so much on the aspect of the competition, even though that's what everybody wants. But let's concentrate on the aspect of what the community is going to offer this, like how people are having a great time in here. He set up, you know, like this welcoming area with, you know, with a raffle prices for family members that come and support you, not for the athletes, but hey, look, I'm gonna give you some raffle tickets and you're gonna win some prizes if your family member comes in.
Mhm.
And you know, that turning into like, let's not concentrate so much about what I'm gonna get out of this thing because I'm not getting a whole lot, but let's capture what we can and make the best out of for later on. So that's something that struck to me, like when you start talking about the open. And again, it's not that I have nothing against the open. I love it. It's my passion. I die for I live for this thing at the time of the year. But I gotta wear my business owner hat, not anymore my athlete, because even though I'm not gonna be making it to the games or anything like that, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna feed my family for the next 5 years. So if I keep continue to wear that hat, I won't be able to. But if I put my owner's hat, believe me, I will.
100%, man. No, I love to hear that, man. Good stuff, brother. I agree 100%. What's funny about that too, and making that mindset shift around like these intramural events, like the Open, for example, is the last couple of years we did it. I had the same mindset, and I felt like it almost ran better, and like it was far, like it was almost like putting in 10x the work to try to make it the best thing ever did not get me 10x the outcome with it. It was like probably didn't move it. It probably moved it fractions of a percent. Because at the end of the day, like there, as long as like you put it on and just let them know about it, and like once they're members, sure, educate them on what it is, and push them to want to do it. Like naturally, like the way the tribal nature of people works is like, people are going to look to the leaders in your community and they're just going to do what they do. And if a bunch of them start doing it, they're going to do it. You don't need to really push that hard on it. And sure, you get in there and maybe poke and prod a few people that probably should do it to maybe push them outside their comfort zone a little bit. Sure, maybe talk about a little bit of workout strategy stuff, but again, that's all internal. That's not going on externally where everybody can see it in your outbound marketing stuff. You do some of those things, right? But like generally, you just let it be what it is. Like that's just supposed to be one of the inherent things that being a CrossFit affiliate gets you. You shouldn't have to break your back for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If anything, use the spin-off of like you said earlier, like more pictures of people smiling and high-fiving and more camaraderie. Like that's what people like to see on the outside looking in, not like the fittest, most jacked dude in the gym holding a, 275-pound snatch over his head. If anything, that does the opposite thing we want it to do. So yeah, man, I love it. Yeah.
But I'm yet amazed how many people continue to advertise heavily on the open. Like I have never seen as much as this year. Like I open my Instagram and every gym that is around me, like come to the open, 24.1 strategies and all those things. Like you said, like how many people really understand that? Like if you're looking at a million people that live in Long Beach, like
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
1,000 might know.
And they're also like, I think there's a lot of these gym owners who are kind of stuck in the past too. Like it's like I think because their world hasn't changed much, they don't realize where things like CrossFit have shifted in like the public view. And it's not like the negative things. I mean, like in 2010, 2015, CrossFit was like the hottest fitness movement, right? Like that's what it was at the time. And like you probably could put something out there like that then, because most of the people interested in it at that time were like your early adopters and your innovators, people that were already like knee deep in fitness that wanted to do something new and exciting. We're kind of now in this like the group fitness niche in general, not just CrossFit, all group fitness is very much in like the laggard and late mainstream stage. There's a lot of competition. Speaking in tongues like that just isn't going to create the curiosity it used to. But a lot of these gym owners still feel like they're talking like it's still 2012, like everybody's supposed to be like interested in this thing. And I'm like, no, like that ship has sailed. Like that's, again, good conversation now with your existing members, but like we're talking about most of the people turned on to our stuff are the late mainstream folks that generally aren't like first movers when it comes to fitness that are going to be like intrigued by this stuff. They're going to be more people that trying to solve average everyday people's problems or trying to solve average problems, right? Like back pain, neck pain, things like that, and it's funny, like, and again, I don't throw many stones at CrossFit, but like for as much as they want to say we're solving life's real problems, I'm like, but not really. You guys don't talk that much about that stuff. Like you'll see, you just by saying the word diabetes doesn't mean like you're solving it. You know what I mean? Like there's not that much content they're pushing out there about that stuff that affiliates can go and use. You know what I mean? Like they should be providing that stuff, right? At the end of the day, the affiliate owner shouldn't expect that either, because you're only paying like $4,000 a year, right? Like I'm not expecting for $4,000 a year that I get like months and months of marketing material done for me, right? But maybe some would be nice, right? Maybe some that represents what they're saying in the brand would be nice. So again, not to make it about that, I'm not trying to throw stones at them, but like I think it's our job as the independent business owner to do that stuff. Like we should be talking about what that means to us and how we solve those problems rather than just say it. That's like another thing I see that kind of makes me cringe too, is like CrossFit gym owners being like, we're really solving life's problems. But then like next photo is like picture of, again, someone really fit doing snatches. And I'm like, okay, like, are you just saying that because it makes you feel mission driven, or like you actually leading with that? Because like that's, I don't see any content on like lowering blood sugar in your stuff if you solve diabetes. Like I don't see any long form content or any reels about that. I just see you talking about how you're solving these problems. It's like, okay, you know, that's I guess the point. But yeah, anywho, good stuff. Robert had his hand up for a second there longer. I'm going to close out with him just because I want to leave him hanging. What's up, Robert?
Just a quick thing. The only my only I guess comeback on that. It's not really necessarily a comeback. It's just every single member of the month I've had since we started it last September, I believe it was, has literally said that the Open was their brightest time here. Like that's what got them to stay here. Was the we bring everybody in on Friday night and have everybody here, and the
Right.
energy is what ended up getting them to stay. They didn't realize it until months later.
Sure.
But that's the
Yeah.
only reason why I still keep pushing our Open. I don't really ask people to register or anything. It's just more of
Sure. Yeah.
this is our
And we're not saying different things there, Robert. Again, like that's that's not really a comeback, because to my point is like community events are good, right? But like speaking outwardly, people have no clue what it is on your public channels. Now given your members are going to see it there too, but that can just as soon happen on an internal thread. And again, my point was that that's all you're talking about, and you're not staying true to the other content pieces we need to attract the other 99% of people who have no clue what it is. Then like you're making a mistake. That's my point.
yeah. I wasn't necessarily trying to argue. I was just saying we've got plenty of other stuff that goes out as well with it.
Yeah.
But highlighting that because those people are still here, so they like to see it on there also.
Sure. And you're also probably, knowing you're probably doing a good job of showcasing more average Joes and Jills, right? Your gym probably is mostly to average Joes and Jills, right? So like it's also a part of it here. It's not the dominant conversation. It's just one way that you're maybe highlighting community and recognition inside your gym, which is again just one part of the 5 or 6 types of content you need to be publishing. Right. So yeah, no, 100%. If anything, you're saying you're doing it right. You know what I mean? Which is to the point. Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah. All good, man. Do you have anything else? Or is that just
that was it?
Okay, awesome. Sweet, guys. Let's roll out. Let's get back to work. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for hanging out with me. A bunch of you guys stuck around the whole time. Wasn't expecting to go almost 2 hours. I was hoping to get all that in an hour, but the follow-up conversation we had after going through the content for the day was really, really good. And I enjoy it. After all these years of doing it, I still learn every time I talk to you guys. Hopefully you guys are learning too. It's motivating for me. Have a fantastic weekend, guys. And if you guys need anything, post it in the school group or hit up Juan if it's about the ad stuff, and we'll make sure we get together on that. See you guys later.